Good morning and welcome to Story Time. Thank you so much for joining in today. I am so glad that you're here. Thank you for joining us. And yes, what are you up to today? Happy Tuesday to you. Thank you for joining in. And we have today MOONBEAR'S Shadow, written and illustrated by Frank Asch. I hope you are ready for this one today. Thank you so much for joining in. Please, as always, let me know where you're joining in from and who is joining in with you. And of course, if you're joining in alone, you are still very welcome to Story Time. Thank you so much for joining in. And yes, MOONBEAR'S Shadow, written and illustrated by Frank Asch, one of my favorites. And this one, of course, is being read with permission of Aladdin Books, an imprint of Simon and Schuster Children's Publishing Division. Thank you so much for joining in today. MOONBEAR'S Shadow. And as we are continuing this week to look at books that are related to light and shadow as we explore tinkering with the Exploratorium. And remember that there's a special event that will be happening on Friday. Please do join in, gather all the material that you need ahead of time and join in and tinker, help tinker with the Exploratorium and just have fun. Help your little ones with you as well. Thank you so much for joining in. MOONBEAR'S Shadow by Frank Asch, written and illustrated by Frank Asch. Good morning to you and welcome to Story Time. Thank you so much for joining in. Danny, good morning to you. How are you doing? Isabella, Louise, and Leslie, good morning to you. Thank you so much for joining in Story Time today. Amanda West, good morning to you. Sarah and Nathan, how are you doing out in Illinois? Good morning to you. I hope you're ready for MOONBEAR'S Shadow. Ellen Edwards in Chicago, good morning to you. How are you doing today? Thank you so much for joining in Story Time. Welcome, welcome. Thank you so much. Good morning to you, Soraya and Sharon Lungo, right here in Oakland, and you're saying staying cozy under your warm blanket. Oh, that sounds amazing. I am glad you're doing that. Thank you so much for joining in, and I hope you have a hot chocolate to boot. Thank you so much. Camille, good morning to you. How are you doing today? Giada, Marco, and Santiago in Sunnyvale. I am so glad you are able to join us today. Good morning to you. So good to see you. Thank you for joining in. I am glad you are here. Good morning to you, Isabella, Luis, and Leslie from Oakland. One more time. Thank you so much for joining in. Ellen Edwards in cloudy Chicago. One more time. How are you doing today? Harmony Beth, good morning to you. Thank you so much for joining in. Awesome. Great that you are here. Of course, good morning to you, Harry. How are you doing today? He's very excited about this. Harry, I am glad you're excited. I am glad you are here. And of course, good morning to you, Kat Saxton, as well. Thank you so much for joining in Story Time today. MOONBEAR'S Shadow, written and illustrated by Frank Asch. Yes, good morning to you. Oh my goodness, all the way out in Denmark. Good morning, or is it good evening to you? Marissa, how are you? Thank you for the beautiful hugs. How are you doing today? And Fiona, how are you doing as well? Thank you so much for joining in. Fiona, one more time, and Marissa, thank you so much for joining in Story Time. And please remember that we do have a tinkering session happening on Friday where you can get involved and do hands-on activities with the Exploratorium. So do join in on Friday for that. But for now, we're going to read MOONBEAR'S Shadow, written and illustrated by Frank Asch. And of course, this one we're reading with permission of Aladdin Books and an imprint of Simon and Schuster Children's Publishing Division. A big thank you, as always, to all the authors, creators, and publishers who've allowed us to share their amazing material right here on Story Time. So I hope you enjoy this one. Get ready. MOONBEAR'S Shadow. MOONBEAR'S Shadow, Frank Asch, written and illustrated, and reading with permission of Aladdin Books, an imprint of Simon and Schuster Children's Publishing Division. All right. One day, Bear went down to the pond with his fishing pole and a big can of worms. While he was putting a worm on his hook, He looked down and saw a big fish. I am going to catch that fish, thought Bear to himself. But when Bear stood up to throw his line in the water, his shadow scared the big fish away. Oh no! Go away, shadow, cried Bear. But Bear's shadow would not go away. Okay, said Bear, if you won't go on your own, then I will just have to get rid of you. And he put down his fishing pole and began to run. He ran around the pond. When he got to the other side, he kept on running. He ran through a field of flowers, jumped over the brook, and hid behind a tree. Good, thought Bear. Now Shadow can't find me. How can he? But Bear was wrong. When he stepped out from behind the tree, the first thing he saw was Shadow. Nearby was a cliff. Bear walked over to the cliff and looked down. I will climb so high Shadow won't be able to follow me, thought Bear. Bear climbed higher and higher until at last he pulled himself up to the top. Huffing and puffing, he smiled with pride. Then he looked down and saw Shadow. Oh, right there. Now Bear was very annoyed, so he went home and got a hammer and some nails to nail his shadow to the ground. He hammered and hammered and hammered, but no matter how many nails he hammered, he couldn't nail his shadow down. What could he do? If I can't nail him down, thought Bear, maybe I can bury him. So he got his shovel and dug a hole. When the hole was deep and wide, he let his shadow fall in the hole. Would that do the trick? Then Bear filled in the hole with dirt. When he was finished, it was almost noon. The sun was high in the sky, and Shadow was nowhere to be seen. At last, sighed Bear, no more Shadow. Had Bear managed to get rid of his shadow? But now Bear was very tired, so he went inside and took a deep nap. While he slept, time passed and the sun once again cast shadows everywhere. Uh-oh. When Bear got up and opened his door, he saw his shadow on the floor. Not you again, exclaimed Bear, and he slammed the door hoping to lock Shadow inside. But Shadow was too quick. Oh. What can Bear do? Sighed Bear. How about this? If you let me catch a fish, I will let you catch one too. Nod your head if you like this and if it's a deal. When Bear nodded his head, Shadow nodded his head too. Okay. So Bear went back to the pond and once again threw his line in the water. By this time, the sun was in a different part of the sky, which made it easy for Shadow to keep his part of the deal. And when Bear caught that big fish, Shadow caught one too. The end. Thank you so much for joining in Story Time today. I hope you enjoyed that amazing story, MOONBEAR'S Shadow, written and illustrated by Frank Asch, and of course read with permission of Aladdin Books, an imprint of Simon & Schuster Children's Publishing Division. Thank you so much for joining in. I hope you enjoyed it. Great story indeed. And of course, Bear struggles with his shadow, but all's well that ends well. Please remember, we are reading these books that are related to light and shadow this week on Storytime, because on Friday we have an amazing tinkering activity coming to you with the Exploratorium. And you know what? You can take part. You can participate, build with us, and you can also send us pictures of what you're building at home along with the Exploratorium. So absolutely love it. Absolutely excited for that. And I hope as many of you can join in and tinker with us. Everybody, young and young at heart indeed. Thank you so much for joining in. Let us see who else was with us one more time before we go. All right, Harry, thank you so much for joining us in Richmond Annex. How are you doing, buddy? Great to see you here. Lots of love to you. And Kat Saxton, good morning to you one more time. Thank you so much. Marissa, have yourself a beautiful night out in Denmark. And good morning to you good evening as well to you, Fiona. Thank you so much. All right, let us see who is with us. Oh, Maria Antonia, how are you doing? And Davi, good morning to you. Thank you so much for joining in today. As always, appreciate you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Amanda, where's Sarah and Nathan? I hope you enjoyed that story today, and I hope you're ready for next week's story with Jack's Amazing Shadow. For tomorrow's story, not next week. Tomorrow's story, Jack's Amazing Shadow. Do join in for that one tomorrow. Thank you so much. And good morning to you. Amanda, where's Sarah and Nathan? Sarah Foster, good morning to you. Thank you so much for joining in. I am glad you are here. Thank you, thank you. And Sarah, please remind me who joined in with you today. Thank you so much. Leon and Mateo, good morning to you. Thank you so much for joining in Story Time today. Absolutely appreciate you. Irene, good morning to you. Thank you for joining in today. Absolutely love it. Happy holidays to everybody. Whichever holidays you're celebrating, I hope you enjoy them. And yes, we are at home. We might not be traveling this time around, but hopefully next year we will be with our loved ones indeed. Thank you so much for joining in. This has been Story Time for today. MOONBEAR'S Shadow, written and illustrated by Frank Asch, was our story for today. But remember to join us again tomorrow for an exciting story when we join Jack's Amazing Shadow. Do join us for that one and find out what Jack's Amazing Shadow is all about. Thank you so much for joining in Story Time today. As always, from me, much love, hugs to everybody out there, and I will see you again right here tomorrow with another beautiful story. Please, please do take care of yourselves. Have yourselves a beautiful rest of the day. Thank you so much for joining in. Remember, gather all your material for tinkering with Exploratorium that will be happening on Friday. Thank you so much for joining in. Much love, and I will see you in the morning. Bye-bye.